Good morning, grade 3. Welcome to your first maths lesson of 2021. Today we are going to begin chapter 3 on page 58. We are looking at shapes and solids. Before we begin, I thought I would introduce myself. Whoa, a new maths teacher! Hi everyone, my name is Teacher Amy. I am going to be teaching you maths this year. Let's begin with a little warm-up activity. Write the name of each shape. See if you can work out what each shape is. The first shape is a square. The second shape is a rectangle. The third shape is a triangle. Now let's see if you can remember what a vertex, edge, and face are. See if you can guess them correctly. A vertex is a corner. It is a place where three or more lines join up to a point on a 3D solid shape. A face is a single flat surface on any 3D solid shape. An edge is a line segment between faces. So it's the lines that go around the 3D solid shape. Today we are going to look at lines and line segments. Number 1. Circle 3 shapes that are in a straight line. To help us find them, we can line up a ruler underneath. So in this picture, the 3 orange triangles are in a straight line, so we put a circle around them. Number 2. Circle the duck in the middle. Well done, grade 3. The yellow duck in the middle has been circled. Number 3. Complete the sentence below. The boys are standing in the front, in the back, on the left, or on the right. What do you think, grade 3? Where are the boys standing? Well done. The boys are standing in the back. Now we are going to take a look at definitions of lines. So we are going to learn how to tell the difference between different kinds of lines. First of all, let's talk about a point. A point is pictured by a dot. It is labeled with a capital letter. This is point A. Now let's have a look at a line. A line is a straight path that goes on forever in both directions. This is line DE. Take a look at the line, grade 3. Can you see that it has arrows on either side of it? This is how we show that the line keeps on going forever and ever. Thirdly, we are going to look at collinear points. Collinear points mean there are 3 or more points that lie on the same line. So when we are talking about collinear points, we need to make sure that the 3 points are on the same line. Look at the example above. Can you see that point H is not on the same line? That means that they are not collinear points. There needs to be 3 or more points on the same line. Now let's look at a line segment. A line segment is a straight path between 2 points. As you can see, this is line segment HI. So have a look at the line. Can you see that it does not have arrows on either side? It has points. So the circles on the end of each line mean that we are only talking about this small piece of the line. It's not a line that goes on forever and ever. We're talking about a piece of the line. Let's have a look at the midpoint. A midpoint divides a line segment into 2 equal parts. It is labeled with a capital letter. As you can see, K is the midpoint of JKL. Can you see how the dot is right in the middle of J and L? That is the midpoint of a line. Finally, let's look at a semi-straight line. A semi-straight line is a straight path that goes on forever in one direction. This is a semi-straight line from M to N. Can you see how there is an arrow on one side of the line but not both? If there is only one arrow on the line, it is a semi-straight line. It's time to do some practice. Match the line to their definition. Remember grade 3, look out for how many arrows there are and how many points there are. So for the first one, you need to draw a straight line joining it to the definition, line FH. Can you see how it has two arrows on it, one on either side? This means it is a line that goes on forever in both directions. For the second one, you need to draw a straight line joining it to semi-straight line MN. Can you see how it has one arrow on it? This means that it is a semi-straight line because it goes on forever in one direction. Now for the third one, you need to draw a straight line to segment HI. Can you see how there are points on either side of the line? This means that we are only looking at this particular piece of the line. We are not looking at the whole line that goes on forever. We are only looking at a small section. Finally, the last one. You need to draw a straight line to semi-straight line OP. Can you see how it has one arrow pointing in the opposite direction to the last one? It doesn't matter, it still only has one arrow, which makes it a semi-straight line. Let's have a look at this one. We need to fill in with point, line, line segment, midpoint, or semi-straight line, and then write the name of the line. So the first one, the type of line is a line. It has arrows on both sides, which means it goes on forever in both directions. So we call this a line. The name of this line is DE. Can you see the D and the E above the points on the line? Those are the letters we use to make its name. The second line is a line segment. Can you see how there are points on either side of the line? Remember, this means we are only talking about a small section of the line, so it is a line segment. And the name of this line, we've got to look back at which letters are being used. The name of the line is HI. Let's have a look at the third one. Can you see the line with JKL on it? What is this type of line? It is a midpoint. Can you see how K is directly in the middle of J and L? It leaves equal space on either side. So this is a midpoint. And the name of the line is JL. We always talk about the furthest points on the line. So we use the letters on the end to name the line. The fourth line, what type of line is this? This is a semi-straight line. Can you see how there is only one arrow on this line? This means it goes on forever in one direction, so it is a semi-straight line. The name of this line is MN. Finally, can you see the last one? It's only a point. So the type of line is a point. And the name of this point is A. Moving on, we are going to look at the picture below and name 6 segments. The first segment is segment AC. The second segment is segment AB. The third segment is segment AD. The fourth segment is segment BD. The fifth segment is segment BC. And the sixth segment is segment CD. Have a look at these segments, grade 3. Can you see how we get from each letter by following a straight line? We can't skip any out. We need to follow a straight line and see which 2 letters we can reach on either side. Now have a look at all the ducks in the pond. We need to circle the duck that represents a midpoint. Remember, a midpoint shows equal space on either side and they have to be in a straight line. If we put a ruler underneath them, they will all be sitting on top of the ruler. So the duck that is acting as the midpoint is the yellow duck at the bottom. Use the figure to solve these questions. Question 1. Name 3 line segments. Question 2. Name a straight line. Question 3. Name 2 semi-straight lines. Question 4. Name 2 collinear points. Question 5. Is K the midpoint of LP? Why? Let's have a look at question number 1. Name 3 line segments. Remember, grade 3, that a line segment needs to have a point on either side, no arrows, because we are only talking about a piece of the line. So in the figure, we can see that line GM is a segment, line LP is a segment, and line MN is a segment. Question number 2. Name a straight line. Remember, grade 3, a straight line is a line that goes on forever. It has an arrow on either side. So in this figure, there's only one straight line. It is line NS. Question number 3. Name 2 semi-straight lines. A semi-straight line has an arrow on one side, not on both. So we can have line AL or we can have line AG. Can you see how they only have one arrow on them? That means they are a semi-straight line. Let's have a look at question number 4. Name 2 collinear points. Remember, a collinear point means there are 3 points on the same line. Okay, it needs to be a straight line with 3 points on it. So in the figure, we can see that line LP and line NS are both collinear points. They have 3 letters and 3 points on the same line. And finally, question number 5. Is K the midpoint of LP? Why? No, K is not the midpoint of LP because it is not exactly in the middle. There is not equal space on either side of it. Can you see how K is a little bit closer to L? That means it is not the midpoint. Use a ruler to solve the following. Remember, grade 3, collinear points are 3 or more points that lie on the same straight line. If one of the points is not on the line, then it is not collinear. So for question 1 and 2, I want you to try and match the points that are collinear. Give it a go. So let's have a look. In question number 1, the collinear points are on the right. Can you see the line? They are in a straight line and there are 3 points. That means they are collinear. For question 2, the collinear points are also on the right. Can you see that there are 2 sets of collinear points? It makes the shape of a cross. For question 3, you need to trace a line segment, AB. So remember that a line segment is a straight path between 2 points. It ends with a circle on either side to show that we are only looking at one piece of the line. For question 2, you need to trace a straight line. Remember, a straight line is a straight path that goes on forever in both directions. It has an arrow on either side. For question 5, I want you to trace a semi-straight line between A and B. Remember that a semi-straight line is a straight path that goes on forever in one direction. So it has one arrow on it. Let's have a look at the answers. Can you see how the line from A to B goes straight and it has a circle on either side to show that it is a line segment? Let's have a look at question 4. Can you see how the line is very straight and it has 2 arrows on either side? This is to show that it is a line. It goes on forever in both directions. Finally, question number 5. Can you see that the semi-straight line from A to B has an arrow on one side? This is to show that it goes on forever in one direction. Locate the midpoint of each line segment. I've placed a ruler underneath to help you. So the first line goes from 0 to 6. So what is in the middle of 0 and 6? Find the correct number and that is where the midpoint is. The second line goes from 0 to 16. What is in the middle of 0 and 16? So for number 1, we know that number 3 is in the middle of 0 and 6. What's half of 6? 3. So we find number 3 on the ruler and we draw an X right above it on the line. That is the midpoint. For the second one, we need to find the number that's in the middle of 0 and 16. Can you see how the line begins at 0 and ends at 16? So what is half of 16? The answer is 8. So we find number 8 and we draw an X on the line just above it. That is the midpoint. Now these ones are slightly different. We need to find the midpoint between A and B, but there is no ruler. So now we need to count the lines. How many lines are there in total? Then you need to find out which line is in the middle. So for the first one, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So what is in the middle? If we cover up a line on each side with our thumbs and we move in by one jump each time, we have one line left. That is the midpoint. Let's do the same thing on the second line. Put your thumbs over letters C and D and do one jump into the middle each time. Jump, jump. So now we can see that the last line left is the midpoint. The end. Don't worry if you struggled a little bit with today's lesson. We're going to go over them some more during the week.